Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pankaj Jaiswal, lecturer in Government Polytechnic Ghaziabad, and my trade is interior designing and decoration. I have been teaching for the last 10 years, and total experience in architecture and interior designing field is around 25 years. The topic today, as we all know, is like water supply and drainage system in a building. This Let us understand the importance of water supply and drainage. The services. This topic comes under the subject interior services or architecture services, we can call it. And the services, and we should all understand it is one of the most important aspect of any building. Just like if we call a building as a body, then the interior services works like a brain of that particular building. And water supply along with electrical systems, firefighting, acoustics, these are all the topics of interior services. And but the first and the foremost topic which I like to cover today is the water supply and drainage. Water supply, as you can find, there are two topics hidden in this today's subject: water supply and drainage. Let us go one by one. Water supply is like the water which is supplied to the building to for the residents. For example, like for the use, like in public utilities, commercial organizations also need water supply, and there are so many other usage of water which I don't need to elaborate. We all understand the importance of water. And in ancient days also there was a proper drainage system, there was a proper water supply system, but through the ages we have evolved the services. And we should also understand why the water supply is so important to a building, given the fact that the 70% of the our earth is covered by water. Only 30% is land area, and 70% of our total area of the earth is water. Still we have scarcity of water. Scarcity means ki though we have so much water, but that water is not potable, it is not in a ready to use state. As we all know that water, the oceans and the rivers and the so many water sources are there, but still there that water is contaminated, or it is like mixed with so many impurities, so we cannot readily use those water. Now since that the entire population, the animals and the irrigation system and the plants, everyone needs water to survive. That is why we should have some source of water which is potable, ready to use. For example, there are some facts around like 56% of the global population, as in 2010, around 5.9 million people, and at that time had access to piped water supply through house connections, but only 13%, around 900 million people, say around uh, 90 crore people, don't have access to proper water system. They The water in our homes come in a very intermittent way. There is like so many developed countries, they might have be having advantages of continuous water supply in their homes, and that is why they take it for granted. But in many of the developing countries, water is still a problem because their population don't have access to regular supply of water. They get water on intermittent basis, sometimes a few hours in a day, or maybe a couple of days in a week. So there is like in India also the system is not that very great. We have like states like Rajasthan and maybe some places of Gujarat also, where there is a huge scarcity of water, and there is a continuous struggle of the common man to have that potable water in their homes. So to get that water, uh, continuous supply of water in our homes, in our buildings, we have developed some water supply system. to get water in our homes, commercial establishments, industry, and irrigation, as well as for such public needs also, for example, firefighting and street flushing. The purpose of domestic service water supply system is to provide consumer with enough hot and cold water. In old building, it is common with gravity storage tanks on the top of the building, but nowadays we have developed some very good systems where we can pump the water directly to multi-storage also, and wherever it is required. Then we have, let us understand the different, my focus today, the water supply is in the main purpose is to cover the water supply system in a building, and in interiors. So we have also to understand the different type of fittings and fixtures which are available for use in our toilets and kitchens and balconies in a domestic purpose. For example, is a bibcock, which is, normally we call it tap or toti. Then we have wall mixtures for hot and cold water mixing before having bath. Then we have single lever diverters, as the word tells you. The is a single lever which operates. Uh, you can operate it to get the desired mixture of hot and cold water. We have overhead showers. Then we have for luxurious feeling of bath. One can also have rain showers also, which will give you the feeling of uh, bathing under the rain. Then the angle walls. Angle walls is basically a fitting which controls the flow of water to the main, for example, bibcock or the cistern or the diverters. Then we also have hand and telephonic showers. Then there are the CP fittings. CP is like chrome plated fitting, for example, health faucet, which is used with the WC, angle wall, I already told you. Then we have wash basin mixer. Wash basin mixer is popularly known as basins. Then shower panels. Shower panels is like one panel which is installed in the toilet, where you can have multiple water outlets at different levels, which can enhance the feeling of having a bath. Then there's a bathtub. Bathtub, as we all know, is a normal. You can fill the tub with the water and can have a good feeling of having bath in a tub. And then there's a jacuzzi. There's slight difference between bathtub and jacuzzi. Is the same as a bathtub, fitted with uh, pressure pumps, so that you can have like uh, water coming out in force to give a relaxing or soothing experience of having a bath. Different types of water supply pipes are available to carry water up to our toilet. Earlier, we used to have galvanized iron, or we call it GI system, but that is becoming obsolete nowadays since the invent of PVC. In toilets, water supply is basically done with CPVC pipes, called as chlorinated polyvinyl chloride. Plastic, as we all know, is a very recent discovery, and it may be like a disadvantage in many other industries, but in the interior services for water supply purposes, it has a huge advantage of carrying water over the GI, because GI, having water supply system with GI was very cumbersome. There was a lot of logistics required, and it was easily uh, prone to wear and tear. But CPVC pipes are like have long life and very simple, easy to carry transportation, and it also is like is long durable. So it has huge advantages. CPVC pipes have huge advantages over the GI pipes and water supply systems. Then there are other means of transporting water to our homes. Nowadays, copper pipes are also getting uh, popularity because of their long life and less contaminated waters supplied to our homes. Now, before we further get into uh, water supply system, and as already told you, there's a lot of scarcity of water in our states, in our country. So it is very important to have rainwater harvesting system. And what does the rainwater harvesting do? It is not a very new concept. in earlier ages of like Mohenjo-daro and the earliest civilizations of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, we had discovered there was a proper water harvesting system. Now, as we all know, the rainy seasons are just like 2 or 3 months in a year. Rest of our months are mostly dry and hot weathers. So, to have a continuous supply of water in our homes, we can we should actually depend upon rainwater harvesting system. Rainwater harvesting is like people may think like rainwater is like water is in very abundance, but rainwater, the moment it touches the ground, it gets contaminated. So there are two ways of harvesting the rainwater. One is we can like in our buildings, so much water falls on the terraces. The water falling on the terrace can be easily collected through proper drainage system, and it can be collected to an underground tank or underground reservoirs, and for use for the future use. Rainwater, as we all know, is one of the purest form of water. So this water collected and under the tanks, I'll show you the pictorial photograph also. Like we see there are two methods of rainwater harvesting. One is like carrying the water which is falling on the roof through a proper drainage pipe. It gets collected into underground tank. Like we can make a huge tank within a vicinity, 10,000 or 20,000 liter depending upon the catchment area of our terraces, and that water can be used in the future for like so many purposes. For example, car wash, gardening, irrigation, and so many other things also. And if you could properly filter it, you can use it for drinking also. And there's another method of rainwater harvesting which is like called recharge method. As we all know, the water which we use for drinking purposes basically comes from the which is underground water. We uh, deploy submersible pumps to extract water from the ground, and which is supplied to our homes. Underground water is also one of the purest form of the water, but the problem is now in the recent days, like so many, now we had been over using the underground water. The result is that underground water, which is normally is around 50 to 60 feet under the ground level, is going below the water level. The water level is depleting. Like earlier, like a 10 years back, the water level was 50 feet. Nowadays you might find at some places it has gone down up to 80 feet. The more it goes down, the more difficult it becomes to extract water for our regular use. So with the rainwater harvesting system, what we can do is we can recharge our existing ground water, underground water, by making boring, by making a bore up to that 40-50 feet deep, and with the proper drainage system, we can get that water flow into that underground water, so that the water level underground is maintained and it doesn't deplete. So this is also one of the method of rainwater harvesting. So rainwater harvesting is like a very important and very uh, it plays a major role in like areas where we have scarcity of water, and with the use of rainwater harvesting system, we can ensure the water supply throughout the year without much interruption. Then going back again to the water supply system, and as I told you, the different fixtures used for supply system, we also have different fixtures which are used for drainage system. For example, the WC, the water closet, uh, is in the bathrooms, sinks which are used in the kitchen for washing the utensils, wash basin, etc., are important components of a house. The wastewater from wash basin, WC, bathroom sinks, that has to be properly disposed into municipal sewers. The water supply, the, we should understand that the importance of drainage system also. The water which is supplied to a house is very very important. Without water we cannot survive much, maybe maximum of 1 a day or 2 days. And equally important is the drainage system. The there is an importance of water supply system, and equally there is importance of drainage system, because we have to remove the contaminated water which had been used by the inhabitants. We have to remove that water as soon as possible from a building, otherwise it becomes a source of so many infections and so many uh, outspread of diseases. So it is therefore necessary to construct a system of conveyance of wastewater from WC, bathroom, kitchen, wash basin, and dispose it to the municipal sewer. This system is also known as drainage system. So the we have to design the water supply system, and we also have to properly design a house drainage system. In India, like in so many years, we are still struggling with so many modern cities. We don't find a very good drainage system. So it is important while designing a building to make a proper to design a proper system of water supply and design a proper system of draining that contaminated water to the municipal sewers. Both of things are equally important. Now before like we have to going for the design, we should there are certain terms which we should be conversant with. For example, wastewater. When water is used for different purposes like domestic, commercial, industrial, and receives impurities and become wastewater. When thus wastewater is used water and it has physical, chemical, and biological impurities in it. Wastewater is a general term. Is a wastewater is a general term after we like use the water for our the personal or the industrial uses. The water which comes out as a waste is called a wastewater, which has to be disposed of. Then this sewage, the wastewater coming from water closet and containing human excreta is known as sewage. Now sewage water is one step further. It's of no use. That water has to be which it contains, because it contains human excreta. There are a lot of bacteria and germs in it, and it is very tough to reuse that water. Therefore, like we have to segregate wastewater from the sewage water in a building coming out from the building. And sullage, what is sullage? The wastewater coming from bathroom and kitchen which does not contain fecal matter is known as sullage. Like the water which does not contain human excreta is, and it is coming directly from the like say bathroom and the kitchen, is called sullage. What is a plumbing system? It is an entire system of pipeline for providing water supply to the building, or it is a system of pipes for disposal of wastewater from the building. The entire system of like water supply and drainage is called plumbing system. Sewer is a pipeline carrying sewage wastewater is called a sewer. What is a soil pipe? Soil pipe is basically a pipe which carries sewage from the WC to the external septic tank or the municipal sewer line. Waste pipe, the pipe which takes out water, which carries the waste water is called a waste pipe. Like for example, from the kitchen, sink, and wash basin. Sewerage system, a system of sewers of different types and sizes in a town, collecting wastewater from the town and carrying it to the wastewater treatment plant, is called a sewerage system. So then there are other terms also. For example, manhole. Manhole, as a name suggests, is a hole which a man can enter. These are RCC masonry chambers constructed at suitable intervals along sewer lines. These are basically like intermittent or chambers which are constructed at regular intervals for the maintenance of the sewer lines in case of any blockage or choking. Then there's a very important fixture which is used in our buildings for that are called traps. Traps are defined as fitting at the end of a soil pipes of wastewater to prevent foul gas coming out of the soil pipe or waste pipe. It is the, as you see in the diagram also, the construction of the trap is such that its mechanism is such that it prevents foul smell from coming back into the building or the washroom or the kitchen. There's a like the construction makes it suitable to make a water seal in between. which acts like as a barrier to foul smells and gases. Now, while uh, designing a house drainage system, we have laid down certain principles which have, for a good design, there has to be, we should follow some principles. So, for a good house drainage system, let us go one by one. House drainage should be preferable laid by side of the building. It should not run just underneath the building. The We should prefer to have the drainage system should be along side of the building in the open space as far as possible. House sewer joint should be leak proof, because leakage of any shall create an odor problem, and leaked wastewater shall infiltrate in the ground and shall reduce bearing capacity of soil below foundation, which is not desirable. Now, this is very important. The sewage or sewage should flow under the force of gravity. The house sewer should always be straight. There should not be like any undesirable bends in different angles. It has to be always in a straight line. Wherever you need to have a turn, the turn should be like 90 degrees, and which with a suitable chamber or the trap constructed at the junction of that turn. The entire system should be well ventilated from start to the end. This is also very important. The house sewer should be connected to the manhole such that the invert level is sufficiently high to avoid backflow of the sewage in the house sewer. This is very, very important. Wherever there is a change in direction of sewer line in the premises, provide inspection chamber at the junction, which I already told you. Rainwater from roofs or open courtyards should not be allowed to flow through the house sewers. Now, this is very important because rainwater, as we all know, it like is a huge amount of water during rainy seasons falling on the on our terraces, and but we should take care that rainwater should not be connected to the house sewers. The rainwater should be disposed of separately. It should be with the help of rainwater harvesting system, which we already discussed. For example, like we can attempt to make a big underground chamber and collect it there, or we can make our existing, we can recharge our existing water table with the recharge systems. Then siphonage action can never be permitted, and therefore adequate ventilation system should be installed. Then there are some main components of a house drainage system. For example, traps will go with the different types of traps in the subsequent slides. Pipes we already told you. Then sanitary fittings. Then we also have to take care of our drainage system. We have septic tanks and soak pit. Now, sewage from WC is collected and treated suitably in septic tanks and soak pits before it can be used in environmental friendly ways or discharge it to the city drains. Like we should not uh, take out the water, the sewage water, and connect it to the drain directly. We should always make a septic tank within our premises, septic tank along with a soak pit, and that sewage water is collected and suitably treated to break down the bacteria, and it can be further used in a more environmental friendly ways in our irrigation system and in our as a fertilizer also. Now this is a proper uh, schematic diagram of a septic tank. We can see how the septic tank, like the water is coming into the septic tank, and how it is like being after being treated, it goes into the extra surplus water goes into the soak pit and it absorbs into the water level, and the sludge which is like collected at the bottom of the septic tank, it is not taken out separately, and it can be used as a fertilizer, or it can for irrigation purposes also in a fields. Then there should be proper inspection chambers, and the level should be properly maintained, and the care should be taken that it should not be more than 5 feet deep for the to carry out the cleaning of the tank in a proper manner. Then we have, as I already told you, the different type of traps available for the use in the domestic drainage system. We have P traps, Q traps, and S traps. And as we like, you will go with this particular diagrams. There are different usage of these P traps, Q traps, and S traps with different purposes in a building. And the main idea is for the using the trap is to create a water seal so that the dirty uh, the foul smell doesn't re-enter the our rooms, toilets, and the kitchens. And this is a real picture of a honey trap, which is like very most common type of trap which are used in the buildings, in the bathrooms. Then we also have a gully trap. This is very important. A gully trap, let me read out. A gully trap or a gully is provided as a junction of a roof drain and other drain coming from kitchen or bathroom. As shown in figure below, the foul sullage shall enter through the side inlet, which is also called as back inlet, and unfold rainwater shall enter from the top, which is covered with cast iron grating. Gully traps may either have a P-shaped or Q-shaped water sealing arrangement. The water seal is normally 50 mm to 75 mm deep. Then we have intercepting traps. What are intercepting traps? Intercepting traps is provided at junction of a house sewer and municipal sewer for preventing entry of foul gases of municipal sewer into house drainage system. Like we should not connect, like so even if we have like municipal uh, sewer running in front of our main house, but before we connect the main the drainage system to the municipal sewer, there there should be intercepting traps, which for the purpose as I already told you, and it prevents the foul gases from entering into the main drainage system of building, and it also helps in maintenance and cleanliness of a house drainage system. Then let us also go through the different sizes of various pipes which are used in the house drainage system, which are basically called UPVC system, unplasticized polyvinyl chloride. And this which size which we are recommending is like now these are the minimum sizes. For example, soil pipe should never be less than 100 millimeter in size, 100 millimeter diameter. Waste pipe, horizontal waste pipe should not be less than 30 to 50 mm, and the vertical pipe should be 75 mm, not less than that. We also use vent pipe for the discharge of the foul gases, which should not be less than 50 mm diameter. Rainwater pipe, the minimum size of the rainwater pipe is like 75 mm, but normally it is recommended to use 100 millimeter. Then we also have anti-siphonage pipe, which is like to prevent the backflow of the water. With the size should be 50 millimeter in diameters. Then following there are different sanitary fittings which I already touched upon, like are used in a house drainage system. For example, wash basins, sinks, bathtubs, water closet or WC we call it, urinals or bidets. Then flushing systems are also used to flush the sewage from our toilet. Then one of the most important fixture which we use in our modern toilets is like water closets, or popularly known as WC. A water closet is a pan-like water flushed plumbing fixture designed to remove human excreta directly and dispose the same into soil pipe through trap. We all use it in our toilets on a regular basis, daily basis. It is generally made of vitreous china, porcelain, and is connected to the soil pipe through the trap. It is very important that the WCC should be connected to the main sewer line through a trap. It should not be connected directly with the help of elbow or any T. There should always be a trap in between. The inside surface of water closet and trap are glazed so that the flushing is smooth and efficient, and it does not get contaminated easily, and it becomes very easy to clean. The underlying surface should be glazed. There are three types of water closet which are available in Indian markets. For example, India type, the Orissa pan, we also call it Orissa pan. Then we have European type also, which you can which can use by sitting on top of it. Then there are Anglo-Indian type, which is a mix of Indian and European style. One can choose any type of like water WC uh, as per his comfort and usage. Then there are different types of system of plumbing for house drainage system. This is very important, because when we call like we should have a proper drainage system in our houses, then we should also understand the different type of plumbing system which is available for usage. For example, there are four plumbing system for house drainage. One is single stack system, and one pipe system, then single stack partially ventilated system, and then there's two pipe system. Let us now understand the importance of, like, mostly earlier we used to have single pipe system. Single pipe system was basically like single pipe carrying all the sewage and the sewage and the wastewater through one pipe only, which is become obsolete now. Nowadays we have like two pipe system, which is more common and it has its own advantages. So let us go through the different features of the two pipe system. Water closet, bath traps, kitchen traps, and wash basin traps are all connected to vent pipes to prevent the backflow of water. Separate soil pipe and waste pipes are provided. Now, for the soil pipe and the waste pipes, then we have different pipes. Now, we cannot mix the different types of water coming out from our toilet. It should be carried to the main sewer line or drain separately. Then there are two vent pipes is also provided. Vent pipe is very important to prevent the backflow of the water into our plumbing system. So if you count, then there are four stakes in this system. Four stakes means there are four different pipes are used in buildings to take the sewage water or the contaminated water outside the building. It becomes slightly costlier, but it is the most efficient system for plumbing. Then this diagram is a bit complicated, but if we go through it like in detail, then you will understand that different single stack system. Then there's one pipe system. The difference between single stack system is there's only one single pipe which is carries all the sewage and everything through one pipe only. Then one pipe system is basically has two pipes. One is for to carry the sewage and one is the vent pipe. Then we have single stack partially ventilated system also is there, and the most common, I already told you, there are two pipe systems. Then there are two different pipes to carry the wastewater and the sewage water, and both have their own vent pipes to prevent the anti-siphonage action and the from the foul smell coming into the toilet. Then there are certain, like, while laying the house drainage plan, we have to ensure some of the, and to ensure the different precautions, or you can say the design recommendations, which should be ensured while laying down the house drainage plan. Important points to be considered while preparing house drainage plans are mentioned below. Drainage layout plan should be as simple as possible. Pipes should be laid in a straight line. As I already told you, pipes should not go in a zigzag manner. There should not be like undesirable angles while laying the pipe, and it should be always run in a straight line. For example, both even the vertical pipes and horizontal pipes shall be laid in straight lines as far as possible. Wherever there is a change in direction of the pipe, inspection chamber or manhole should be provided. Why? Because there is always a possibility of blockage or clogging wherever there is a change in angle in the flow direction of the pipe. If we make 45 degree or 90 degree angle, which is like at times it is like unavoidable, so to the angle and the direction change is imperturbable, so we have to make an inspection chamber wherever there is a uh, wherever there is a turn in the direction of the flow of the pipe. Sewers should not be laid under a building to avoid the risk of decreasing the in bearing capacity in case of continuous leakage of sewage from joints. Now, as far as possible, the pipeline should be carried on the side of the building, on the setback area, and it should not be laid directly under the building, because if there is even a slight possibility of leakage of water, the it may hamper the decrease the bearing capacity of the soil, thus causing uh, the uneven settlement of the soil under the building, and it may the it may the floors or the structure of the building may start developing cracks because of this reason. So it is better to avoid the carrying the pipe under the building. The leaked sewage percolates in the soil and increases moisture content of soil below the foundation. Increased moisture content decreases bearing capacity, which is not desirable at all. Pipes should be laid at proper gradient and proper size. The usual size of house sewer are 100 mm, 150 mm, 230 mm, 300 mm. They should be laid with such a gradient that there is no deposit of solid matter. So that's all for today, and thanks for going through all my presentation, and shall be back with more such presentation in the future. Thank you.